Welcome back to another in our series of the great chapters in the Bible. Our chapter today comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 1, the way of the righteous. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. There is something that has puzzled me throughout my life. It's not the where did the universe come from or those type of ideas. Yes, mysteries like that puzzle me, and I do want to know the answers. But one of the great puzzles is this. Why is it that people who laugh a lot aren't always the happiest? Why is it that comedians aren't the happiest? After all, they devote their lives to making people laugh. I'm rather shocked when I read about those in the business of comedy that are so prone to drug and alcohol abuse. It may be that I'm naive and simple-minded in my approach to life that keeps me from seeing the big picture of such things. Well, I wouldn't discount that at all. So what is it that makes people happy? Is there one thing across the board that we can point to and declare, yes, that makes people happy? I guess let's define what happiness is on the bigger scale to determine that. Oh, let's consult our dictionary to see if that helps. According to Merriam-Webster, happiness is a state of well-being and contentment, a pleasurable or satisfying experience. That's a pretty good start. Well, let's check this definition against itself and see if it holds up. Just like mathematics. If 6 plus 4 equals 10, then in order to check my math to see if it's correct, I take the answer 10, subtract 4, and I should get the remaining 6. Well, let's say I take away the well-being from the equation. Then I'm not happy. The definition of well-being is the state of happy, healthy, or prosperous. So if I'm not happy, healthy, or prosperous, then I'm not in the state of well-being, and therefore not happy. Now, don't get lost on me now. I'm just trying to use logic here. Ask the question, do I have to be healthy in order to be happy? Or must I be prosperous in order to be happy? By the dictionary definition, no. So are only those who are healthy and prosperous happy? I think we're going down the rabbit hole and chasing something that is leading us further from the answer we're looking for. Or are we? The first word in our psalm, yes, the book of Psalms, is blessed. It is the Hebrew word esher, and it means happy. In fact, that word is translated happy in Deuteronomy 33:29. Happy are you, O Israel. And when Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob one of her sons, she declares in Genesis 30, verse 13, happy am I, for women have called me happy. So she called his name Asher. His name Asher is from the same root word esher. The other word for blessed in Hebrew is the word barak. When used by man towards God, it means adoration. Psalm 113:2 says, blessed be the name of the Lord for this time forth and evermore. So in the same way, the Greek also gives us two different words for blessed in the New Testament. Makarios means happy or fortunate. We read that in the Beatitudes. Matthew 5:3 says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The other word for blessed is eulogia. It means to speak well of one or praise. Hebrews 7:7 says, it is beyond dispute that the inferior is blessed by the superior. Continuing on with our first psalm, we find that this man is not happy when he does three things. The first is the way he conducts himself. The psalmist uses the word walk. This is the meaning he writes in Psalm 15:2. He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks truth in his heart. Or when God spoke to Solomon in 1 Kings chapter 9 and verse 4. As for you, if you will walk before me, as David your father walked, with integrity of heart and uprightness, doing according to all that I have commanded you, and keeping my statutes and rules. In the New Testament, Paul addresses Ephesians and says in Ephesians 5:8 and 9, For at one time you were in darkness, but now you are in the light of the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. So we see that the way we walk refers to is our manner of life, our conduct. That conduct is not aligned, nor does it follow the advice given by the wicked or their purposes. Next, the man is not happy when he stands with sinners. That is to say, where he dwells, where he remains, where he tarries. Those places are not in the company of sinners, nor the way in which they conduct their lives, nor their course of action. Later in the psalm, the psalmist would say in Psalms 26:12, My foot stands on level ground. In the great assembly I will bless the Lord. And again in Psalm 27:11, Teach me your ways, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my enemies. His life doesn't teeter precariously on the ledge or on the slippery slopes or in the miry clay. Where the happy man sits is not with the scoffers. Jeremiah said as much in Jeremiah 15:17. I did not sit in the company of revelers, nor did I rejoice. I sat alone because your hand was upon me, for you had filled me with indignation. An old adage says, when you sit down with the goats, you'll rise up smelling like them. The sentiments of the psalmist are clearly put forth in Psalms 26, verses 4 and 5. I do not sit with men of falsehood, nor do I consort with hypocrites. I hate the assembly of evildoers, and I will not sit with the wicked. Solomon describes those scoffers, also known as scorners, this way in Proverbs 1:22. How long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? How long will scoffers delight in their scoffing, and fools hate knowledge? Those who mock at goodness, who argue at every turn. That's not where this man finds delight. Where does this person find happiness and delight, if not in those places where we just read? How do we know where anyone finds their joy in life? It's where they spend their time. If one loves the world, they will find their happiness in the ways of the world. If one says they love the Lord, they will find their joy spending time with the Lord. This person in Psalm 1 is consumed day and night with the law of the Lord. He meditates upon it. He ponders and studies and talks about it constantly. Joshua was told this by the Lord when he was ready to lead the Israelites into the promised land in Joshua 1 verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. What language would you use then and now to translate what will be the result of following the law of the Lord? What picture captures that thought? If I lived in a dry and arid land or an area given to drought conditions, I would at once recognize that the tree planted by the water is always lush and green and yields its fruit constantly. Not so with the tree in the dry ground. How shall I know the ways of the wicked? In the agrarian society, that is portrayed by the waste of the harvest, the chaff, that which is tossed into the wind and blown away. How perfectly the illustration in an economy of words. Laid side by side for all time, so that any who read this Psalm of Psalms may see and choose where they may stand, the path they shall walk in, and the seat where they shall sit, and the rewards that follow such a pursuit. They shall see the end of the wicked and know that all who choose that life will perish. Given the choice, why would any choose not to travel in the way that leads to prosperity and plenty? Which seems the better choice to you? And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at another of the great chapters in the Bible.